Hello, this is the cast of Grey's Anatomy. How drunk are you? Because you just did 3 rounds with Henry Goldblatt, so...
I'm totally fine.
Perfect amount of drunk.
Perfect amount. Nice. That's the best way to start off a Sunday, right?
You just take it up and you just maintain for the rest of the day.
Now, right at the end of the panel, Giacomo, you brought up trial. This is a big part of Grey's Anatomy this season is Alex versus DeLuca. As we get closer to the trial for everyone, how do you think that's going to start to divide the hospital?
Yeah, it's definitely sort of brought a picking of sides, choosing of sides for everybody on the show. And I think DeLuca at this point feels just kind of alone and nobody really to talk to. So he's found a friend and a confidant in Joe Wilson, and so that's sort of where he's at right now. I asked the writers; they don't really give me much information. I think they have a bunch of forks in the road, in the sense that they have a couple of ways that they could play out the trial, but I know nothing, unfortunately. Yeah.
They know better than to tell us too much.
Yes.
Do you think it'll bring up some tension at the hospital, though, between everyone?
I think what people are going to see is like a real heartbreak around this. Like at this point, this is a bad situation. The fact that Alex is even going to trial is it's not good news for anybody. It looks bad for the hospital. God only knows what's going to happen to Alex, and we all have a stake in wanting to. All of the doctors have a stake in wanting things to turn out as best as possible, and yet there's no getting around the fact that a trial is bad news.
Right. And it gets interesting because where you land out in it, everybody's looking at it from both sides, but it says something about you as a person where your knee-jerk reaction is. Ben actually challenges Meredith and is saying, so are you just down with
blind loyalty?
Yeah, just because of is it blind loyalty, that sort of thing. And for me, that's a really interesting question, and she backs it up and stands by it. But it's an interesting thing where everybody's got to kind of explain why they're coming from where they're coming from.
Mm-hmm. I think Stephanie's doing the smart thing and staying the hell out of it.
But we are going to learn more about Stephanie in a coming episode. I saw on a log line we're actually going to be seeing a younger version of Stephanie. So are we going to get a little bit more history about her finally?
You're going to see the younger version of her in the context of the history that you already know about her with regard to her sickle cell, and so how in the context in which you'll see it, how that plays out in that entire episode. Actually, you're going to learn a lot more about our core characters and Stephanie too.
Okay, mm-hmm. All right. And Kelly, I feel so bad for Maggie. I mean, the audience knows about Riggs and Meredith, but she doesn't. How do you think she's going to feel when she eventually finds out?
How would you feel if, you asked one person to tell you the truth about one specific thing, and then they went on lying and lying and lying and lying? No, I mean, I think that just by the hiding of it is really, it's not the truth of it that's problematic. It's the hiding that I think is the deception that's involved in the sense of betrayal. So I really don't know what's going to happen to Maggie, but I feel like it would be a very human and natural response to have some frustration at the very least, maybe some anger. There will be some suffering.
There was that episode a while back where you just said, listen, just no more lies, you know what I mean? And then she goes down and Meredith lies, says somebody had the wrong address or something, and it was Riggs who had come to the door. It was just to see after she had just said no more lies, and then she right after that lie, it was just I'm not looking forward to that coming out.
When it goes down, I'm Team Maggie.
Oh,
when it
no,
goes
that's
down,
true.
I'm Team Maggie on that one.
100%.
Everyone is Team Maggie.
Well, I mean, because again, listen, everybody wants
She's the
Maggie, Meredith to be happy, Riggs to be happy, Maggie to be happy. Nobody wants anybody lying to each other. Right. That's ultimately, I think, what it comes down to. We'll
see. Giacomo, I have to ask, I'm sensing kind of a little flirtation between Joe and Andrew. Am I wrong about that? Or is there maybe some feelings there?
I mean, the episode that just aired, he came out and said that, expressed indirectly some feelings towards her. He didn't outright say, I have something for you, but he sort of mentioned that he doesn't like seeing her with the guy who always, beats people up and hurts people around them, and that she deserves better, which I think was, obviously alluding to that he could do better for her. I think they've just gotten really close through this trial, which is, not great circumstances to be getting close by, but I think he's found a real friend in her, and I think through that maybe something more than that has developed. I don't know if that's going to be something that is explored in the show per se, but I think I know where DeLuca's head's at. I don't know about Joe's head, but I can be responsible for mine.
He's all lined up for the friend angle.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
friend.
Yeah, long game.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of relationships, Jason, can you talk a little bit about what we're going to be seeing for Ben and Bailey? There's kind of a push-pull last season in terms of who was really in charge. He did kind of
Ben's
push
in
back.
charge. Ben's in charge.
Let's clarify that.
She's the chief of the hospital.
She's the chief of the hospital.
Yes. So
And then there's home. No,
what does that look like moving forward?
No, I think they've established this church and state thing, and I think the whole church and state thing gets reevaluated itself. Because as a way of getting through work, church and state, the reality is their career is their biggest passion of their life besides their family. So it's like trying to separate the two is really hard. So that itself is going to get under examination. So they got to go back to the drawing board to figure out how they shuffle this stuff out.
All right, now you guys described your characters in 3 words for the next few episodes. Before we end here, can you describe, the mid-season finale maybe in 1 word? Because those Grey's mid-season finales are always kind of shockers. So what would you say if you could describe it in 1 word?
Rubble.
Say rubble?
Yeah, I see how that works. I see how that works, definitely. We're not going in order, guys. Feel free to jump in.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out something that doesn't get me fired by Shonda Rhimes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's certainly a couple truths, long coming truths
One word.
that are revealed. Yeah.
Say truth.
Oh, truth.
Say
That's your
truth.
word. Okay. Complicated.
Complicated. Okay. All right. And Jason, you finish us off.
I'm going to say justice? I don't know. Is it
That sounds cool.
Okay. There you have it.
obliqueness at its best?
The cast of Grey's Anatomy here at EW PopFest. Thank you guys for joining us
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank
Stay
for having
tuned.
us.